How do you become a sought-after social media thought leader? Hi, I'm Laura Beaupelin, the founder of Lab Creative, the author of Brand Chemistry, and the creator of Brand Camp. And today on Live with Laura, my amazing guest, Blair Kaplan Venables, is going to help us answer this very important question. She's an expert on social media marketing and the president of Blair Kaplan Communications, a British Columbia-based PR agency. Welcome, Blair.
Hi. Oh my gosh, Laura, I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. So we met a few months ago, and interestingly enough, we're at the same event and then ended up on the same flight coming overseas, which was just the weirdest
We
coincidence
didn't
to like,
know. We didn't know till we were waiting in line to getting on the plane.
that was that was such a beautiful moment when I
We were
realized
only
that
a
that
row
was you in
apart.
line.
We were only a row apart.
Exactly. Yeah. So, a synchronicity, right? We were meant to meet at a summer camp in Algonquin at a women's entrepreneur event and then
Fly to
meet
Munich.
in Munich and then have like coffee at the Munich airport
Oh
together.
my
So
gosh. Remember,
what
I got so lost and you helped me find my gate?
oh, Heather is saying hi. Hi, Blair. Amazing. Hi, Heather. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so I think we could just chit chat about all kinds of things, but let's talk about thought leadership and social media. I think social media is, you know, it's people are just posting everything all the time. How do you stand out as a thought leader on social media?
Uh, so I think what we need to talk about is one, what is a thought leader? And a
Yeah.
thought leader is basically you're the leading authority in your industry. You are like the top of your industry. The media wants your expertise. The clients find you and come to you. Other people in your industry want to learn from you. So first of all, you need to be someone who stands out and who really embodies what you do and what you love. So that's what a thought leader is. Now, standing out on social media is really hard. And a lot of people come to me about, like, I want to make more money using social media. But let me tell you, as a communications professional, social media is actually a public relations tool. It's the long
Mm,
game. Social media is a long
right.
game.
Yeah.
What you should be doing on social media is letting people into your life and getting them to build that like, know, and trust with you. And eventually, maybe they do business with you or refer you business, or they become a loyal fan and just follow you forever. Yeah.
Yeah. And that totally speaks to everything that I do with my clients, right? It's helping them, how do you stand out? How do you get known for something in your industry? And the reality is, I don't get business from my social media platforms. It's people that have met me somewhere, heard about me somewhere, been referred. The social media is a way to establish my expertise and keep me top of mind when they might be looking to hire. But to me, I've never seen it as like, I'm going to post on social media and then people are just going to DM me and hire me. Now, that may happen, but that's not the game that I think most people are experiencing.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, like, so I created something called the social media empowerment pillars, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that. But the biggest thing is that people want to get to know you. Like, why should someone spend their money and time with you, right? And part of that is like establishing a connection. I've had people like will hear of me and then they maybe follow me for a couple years, and maybe I share something about my personal life, like a cat I bought or my mom passing away or anything in between. And they might reach out to me and say, I've been following you for years. I just wanted to reach out. And then we start a conversation. And eventually, someone like that becomes a client or a referral partner. And I think people are scared of like being vulnerable and telling stories. And I mean, it doesn't work for every business. I mean, if you are, an entrepreneur and you're, like I am my brand, it's really important to share what's below the tip of the iceberg.
And that, I talk about that too, like the storytelling and being vulnerable. Now, there's a lot of people that are kind of barfing their personal life all over social
Yeah.
and kind of in a play by play as it's happening. And that is not what I recommend. I talk about curating your vulnerability and sharing it. Just because it's happening in your life doesn't mean you need to share it. But people do want to see who you are and see inside your life. And that makes you also more interesting just as a person and more memorable when you've got those interesting stories that connect with people.
Well, it's not even just the story, it's about how you tell the story. People want
Yeah,
to be inspired. They want to laugh. Like, I mean, like I have a gift of turning like sad, dark things into something humorous, and I think it's just how I cope with like hard shit. Can I swear on here? I did. Anyways,
sure.
it's about how you tell your story, right? And like, does it need to be on Instagram feed? Does it need to be in your story? Does it need to be five different things? Or is it a story you're telling over a month period? Sometimes you're documenting things. Like I'm having some health challenges, and for months I've been documenting them. And here and there, I'm like, okay, now I'm at a doctor. This is what I learned. And like, it's a long game, but people are invested in it. And they'll reach out to me with advice and like, oh, I actually had that. Here's what and so it's a sense of community.
Mm. So
Mhm.
do you think your thought leadership or becoming a thought leader can help you establish that community?
Yeah, like with emails, with social media, one of the biggest things that I inspire people to do is as it like write as if you're talking to your best friend. Be a real person. It doesn't need to be a polished business post. And what happens is that they feel like you're their friend, and essentially you are like you're their internet friend. And the thought leadership starts to build over time. So then I get people who maybe I've met along the way, and they might see someone who puts a post up like, does anyone know a social media expert? And this person
Mm,
never met me, but they followed me forever. They may just tag me.
right.
So social media is every time you show up on social media, whether it's engaging in a story, like a story sticker, or commenting, or liking, or following, or posting, and anything in between, that's planting a seed. So are you planting a seed in a little pot on your windowsill, or are you planting like a farm field?
So how would you define whether somebody is, just so people can understand sort of the difference, what would be the difference between planting something in the little pot on your windowsill versus planting the farm?
Oh yeah. Okay. So windowsill is like, okay, maybe I make a post twice a week on Instagram. That's it. The farm is I maybe post once a day on Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn, and maybe I spend 20 minutes a day engaging on social media. So following new people, liking, commenting, getting involved and building a real relationship. Yes, guys, this takes time. It there's time involved. There's no quick fix. And that's a field is like spending time showing up, because every time you show up, like if I showed up in Laura's feed and it's like a tap on the shoulder. It's like, hey. And then another example is I have this other, I have a business crush on this person, Laura Belgray, Talking Shrimp. She knows this.
Yep.
But to me, she's like a business celebrity. And I met her through my PR coach. And I started following her. And she is such a brilliant writer. And she teaches you how to write really great emails. I read every single email. I follow her on social media. I engage with her content. I share her stuff. Like I have like her brain is, I think her brain is a genius. Like she's a genius and I love her brain. And recently I was at an event and I got to meet her in person. And it was really cool because then now we have this relationship where we can communicate. But it's she knew who I was because I didn't stalk her. I promise I didn't stalk her. But like showing up, tapping her on the shoulder, it's like, hey, I'm sharing your content. Like I'm commenting. I really like what you have to say here. Hey, listen to what Laura has to say.
Mm.
She's a thought leader and she inspires me, right? And people do the same to me. Like I have a couple followers who will follow me on all my platforms, engage with all my content. They'll send me posts they think I'm going to like or that I should share. It's really cool.
That's awesome. So how do you create shareable content? Like how do you create something that would make other people go, I'm going to share this in my feed?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. And it depends on your vibe and what you're doing and who you are. So I have some people in my community who love to like they maybe do carousel posts on Instagram with 5 tips, and each post is a tip. That stuff is shareable. I like quotes. I like funny quotes, inspirational quotes. I'm sober. I'm Jewish. I'm really big right now into sharing information about educating on anti-Semitism. I'm really big into sharing stuff on sobriety.
Yeah.
I'm almost 4 years sober. I share a lot of cat videos. And if someone I follow in the business community makes a post and it resonates with me, or I think it's going to resonate with my followers, I share it. So it's always different. The stuff I create like well, right lately I've been like I share media wins and I share some tips and I share reels about business, but I share a lot of more personal stuff and I on my journey. Like my social media is a little bit of business and a lot of Blair. But when I show up And the way I show up is what I teach people to do. Because people
Right.
come to me and they're like, I don't want to do what all the experts say and make a bunch of reels posting and then I making a graphics. Like, I just want to show up as me and like share the beautiful views. And I'm like, you can't. There actually are no rules. You get to show up however you want.
There are no rules. You get to show up however you want. I think that right there is like a huge key thing. I think a lot of times people think this is how it has to be done. I have to do all these things and it gets overwhelming and then they just don't do anything.
Analysis, is it paralysis? Is that like that?
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah, like I think it's like I was just having a conversation with a friend and she was telling me about all of her ideas. I'm like, okay, why haven't you done it? She's like, well, I don't know if it's perfect. I'm like, you not taking action is getting in the way of your success. Like it's better to take an imperfect action than to not do anything. So what are you waiting for? Just do the thing. No one's going to know it's not perfect for you. And guess what? It's social media. If you want to delete it, delete it. I mean, there's obviously a footprint online, and if you share something, like it's easily like the, the powers that be can find it. But like if you make a post and then 3 days later you're like, you know what, I don't like it, or it doesn't look good in my feed, or I feel good about it, you can get rid of it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people forget that they can actually go back and delete posts.
Mm-hmm. Or
Right?
archive them. Like, yeah. And I think like, I don't know, people just spend too much, like if you have the patience to curate your feed on Instagram, bravo. I want to post what I want when I want. And I do have a high level strategy that I follow, but I don't make the rules. I just break the rules. That's my like Real Housewives tagline if I were on the Real Housewives. And I think people get too stuck in like, oh, I can't post this. It doesn't have my brand colors. And that's okay. I think if you're a graphic designer, your aesthetic is a bit more important than the message you have. I mean, like that's important too, but like I'm a social media expert. I'm not teaching you how to make a post with red in every photo. And if you want to do that and you have the patience for it, great. But if it's getting in the way of you sharing content that's going to plant an important seed that's going to bring you business, like what's more important, having like matching feed or money? Right.
That's an interesting perspective. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time. Like I definitely put a lot of effort into like what the feed looks like. And I'm doing less with that now because it takes so much time. And it's the posts that are less like that get more visibility.
Right. Exactly. Like I think like
It's
if you
usually my face
yeah,
talking.
yeah. I think if you have the time and capacity to do it, go for it. But like I can't be told what to do, even if I tell myself what to do. So I just want to give everyone permission to like post what you want. If it's a low quality video, but you have a great message, it's better than waiting till you have a new camera to make a new video. Like get your message out there. Someone needs to hear it. Someone needs to read that post that you're going to make, whether it's 3 sentences or 3 paragraphs. Like someone needs to hear it.
Yeah. So can you talk about your social media empowerment pillars? I'd love to learn more and everybody to hear what those are.
Yeah, so a little background. So my business is going to be 15 years old in June. Very exciting. Also makes me feel
Amazing.
And when I started a PR company. Social media marketing wasn't a thing. It wasn't a tool. And I was having people reaching out to me like, oh, you do PR. Do you use social media? And I always just said yes. But there was no one to learn it from. There were no mentors. There were no YouTube videos. I literally took what I knew from public relations and applied it to social media. There was a lot of throwing shit at the wall, hoping stuff like would stick. There was a lot of trial and error. And like, in the beginning, there was like Twitter and Facebook. Like there wasn't, it wasn't like what it is today. And people like these social media networks weren't created for business. But I found a way to build a system that I can help people get their message out using social media based on public relations principles. So everything that I'm about to share, it's not something I learned from an expert. It's not something I read in a book. These are the 7 elements I believe everyone needs in a social strategy to be seen as a thought leader. This, if you have another expert you follow, that's not wrong. Like we all have our own methodology. This is mine, and this is what's been working for 15 years. So the 7 elements I believe that you need to build out in a strategy, they spell the word empower. So there's edutain. I don't know if you can see me. Edutain.
Yes.
And that's educating and entertaining. So that's a strategy. So these are all like what you need to have, and there's a small strategy that needs to be built under each of these. So edutain is the content. How are you going to educate and entertain? People want to be hooked in. They want to learn, and they want to be entertained. Don't be boring.
Yeah.
Okay? So edutain is all things content. Money is the second pillar. And that is, one, how much money do you want to make? And how much money do you want or have to spend on advertising on social media? Social media is pay for play. So you can spend time growing organically, or you can have a real cool lead magnet and spend $10 and grow your list by maybe 1,000. Do you have money to spend? Do you want to reach more people that don't know who you are? And if you don't have money, that's totally okay. Most of my growth has been organic, but like I'm an anomaly. But I really believe in ads. Like I really believe in social media ads, and you don't have to spend thousands of dollars. EMP, personas. Who are you selling to? Who are you? These are your avatars. These are your customers. You know, if you realize, oh my God, my customer's a geriatric millennial or a vintage millennial like me, are they on TikTok? Are they on Snapchat?
Hang on, a geriatric millennial.
I don't know why I said that, because I think it's offensive, and I started calling myself a vintage millennial, but geriatric came out because it's 8 a.m. and it's interesting.
Even vintage. I hadn't heard that term, either of them, so that just made me chuckle.
I think I made up vintage millennial. Like I call myself a vintage millennial because it sounds more chic. So
then geriatric, definitely.
Yeah, geriatric's like geriatric pregnancy. It's like, what am I, a dinosaur? Anyways. Like, who are you selling to? This is important because different generations respond to different platforms and different types of content. Yeah. I have a client who we just had a meeting, and she has about 5 main personas, right? So you can have 2, you can have 1, you can have 20. Depends how complicated you want to be, but I recommend having at least 2 main personas.
And are these the ones for different platforms, or the same platform and different personas? How would you define that?
I think what you do is figure out who your personas are and where they are on social media. Who are the people with the money that are going to spend the money and time with you? And where are they on social media? Because someone who is 17 is probably somewhere different than the person who is 60, but there might be overlap. Research is involved. There's a lot of data out there. You get to make the decision, right? And honestly, like there's someone from every demographic on every platform, but you want to get your biggest bang for your buck if you're going to be spending time and energy.
Yep, definitely.
So we have edutain, money, personas, and the next pillar is other players. I believe in collaboration over competition. So if someone's not spending money with you, who are they spending money with? Like if you're not hiring me, are you hiring Laura? Or are you putting an ad in the paper? Like, or, you know, maybe you hire a publicity expert to just get you in the media. Where is the money going from your potential clients if it's not to you? I think it's good to come up with like 5 potential competitors and really do a deep dive. Where are they posting on social media? Who are their followers? Where are they posting? What are they posting? What posts of theirs gets the most engagement? Do some recon, do some lurking. This is going to show you, maybe you identify that your target market's on LinkedIn, but your 4 of your 5 competitors aren't on LinkedIn. Opportunity, right? And it'll show you the type of content that your potential customers might respond to. So it acts as a place of inspiration. I don't ever recommend copying. You need to have your own intellectual property, but it's a place where you can do your research.
Definitely.
Okay? So the next pillar is one of my favorites. It's the wins pillar. Wins. So this pillar, this is where you build out a publicity piece. This is where you build out your media exposure strategy. And then the biggest thing with wins is I call it peacocking. You know how male peacocks like spread their they attract mates?
Yep.
We are a very humble society. Why aren't we bragging about the cool shit we're doing and the wins we have for our clients? Some people are really good at it, but we don't peacock for ourselves. So this pillar is about
peacocking.
More peacocking. We need to peacock. We need to share testimonials, share our media wins, share the wins we got for our clients, case studies, everything in between. I just landed a new client. Oh my gosh, check out this new notebook. I'm really excited because I love to plan. Like, let people in for the wins, the big wins, the little wins, but let people in because, one, if I don't know what you're doing that you're proud of, how can I be proud of you? How can I share what you're doing with my community? If you're not bragging about yourself, I can't brag about you. And it's okay to do it. It's
So
okay.
how do you balance that? Because a lot of people are uncomfortable. They're like, I don't want to sound boastful. I don't want people to think I'm this pompous, asshole. I'm going to swear since you did. How do you balance that so they're not like, well, isn't she a little cocky about her achievements, or
Yeah.
make other people feel bad because they haven't? Like, I think there's finding the balance with that. So I'd love, just before we move on, like what are your thoughts on that?
One, all of your posts should not be brags.
Yes, that's a good place to start.
It's really good to share your wins for your clients, not just your own wins. And also it's about how you deliver it. Not like, look at me, I'm the best. I am top 10 like lipstick wearers. Like, it's about how you share it. Be like, oh my God, I'm so honored because I've been in the background and now I'm on camera, and like Mac voted me one of the top 10 lipstick wearers, which is super cool because I have a small upper lip. How do you even see it without my Botox? So it's about how you share your win. Not like, look at me, I'm the best. But here's the story about like why this is exciting.
Yeah. It's like a humble brag.
Humble brag, but you don't have to use the short humble brag, but it's about how you deliver it. And if you are someone, at once in a while, you're like, whoa, I won like an award from Forbes. If that's all you can muster because you have a capacity issue with content creation, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Because regardless if you come off arrogant or like very humble, it's showing what you're capable of. And someone out there is going to see that and make a decision if they want to work with you now or in the future.
Awesome.
Okay. So the sixth pillar is engagement. Do you have a social media engagement strategy? Most people don't. Now, why is engagement important? Well, first of all, never post and ghost. You want to be a real person or a real brand, like someone behind the brand, right? You can't just schedule a bunch of stuff in Hootsuite or later and disappear. Like I said earlier, every time you show up on social media, you're planting a seed. You're planting a seed. Are you engaging 5 minutes a day? Are you going to engage maybe 3 times throughout the day? On which platforms? Build it into your schedule. Like, you schedule time for meetings. You schedule time maybe to work out. You have an alarm that wakes you. Schedule that time in. Some suggestions if you feel like you're too busy. While you're watching hockey with your husband. Lying in the bath. There's no shame in a pooping post. If you're in the bathroom. Like, you do what you need to do to engage.
Yeah.
You do what you need to do to engage, even if it's just liking a couple posts or commenting. I recommend I recommend engaging a little bit before you make a post and then right after you make a post, or whenever you can fit it into your schedule. And if you are on vacation and you schedule a bunch of content to go out and you're on vacation, that's okay if you don't engage for a week. But like, you need to spend time being a real person, not just pumping out the content. It's not a radio. We're not like listening to radio. We're having, it's called social media. The interaction is important.
So it's interacting with people, obviously responding to your posts, you posting, commenting, maybe sharing other people's, and following new people. That's how you would define engagement.
Exactly. Or liking posts. But like, what's really cool is that I find that if I spend time like commenting on other people's posts, my followers grow because someone else might comment and see my name and tap on me and go, oh, I want to follow Blair from Blairland on Instagram because that's my username.
Everybody follow Blair.
Follow me. And it happens same with LinkedIn and Facebook. Like, you don't know who can see you. Like, if you don't show up, no one's going to see you.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
And then the last pillar is realistic goals. I believe we should be setting personal, professional, and health goals. These are all important, and they actually tie into the money pillar, because if you're someone who's like, I want to live in like a cabin in the woods off grid, versus I want to have 3 homes around the world and only fly first class, and I want to donate $1 million a year to my philanthropic initiative, the amount of money you need to make to live in a cabin in the forest off grid is going to be a little different than you need to make if you want a bunch of homes around the world and to donate $1 million. So also, what does your lifestyle entail? Like, if you're someone who likes to go to yoga and likes to go to retreats around the world, and wants to join like the best gym in the city, versus someone who wants to work out in their living room or, grow their own tomatoes. Like, there's a cost to everything. There's time, like the currency of time, the currency of energy, and the currency of money. So it's important to set your goals. I like to do 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. I used to do a 10-year vision, but then over the last couple years, when I had a lot of loss in my life, I realized I'm going to just do 5-year goals and in my head know where I want to be in 10 years. But I like doing 1 year, 3 year, and 5-year goals and then working towards them. What are my professional goals? I want to empower 88 million people by August 2025. I want to empower them to tell their stories, to heal. I have the Global Resilience Project. I have, my social media empowerment pillars. Everything ties back to storytelling and hearing stories. That's one of my business goals. So when I make decisions, is this going to move me closer to my goal or not? That's how I make some decisions. Like being on your show. Well, first of all, yes, because you're amazing and I'll take all my Laura time. But also, this is moving the needle closer to my goal. So 2, health goals. Health goals are really important because they also keep you on track. It's like, oh, wait, I actually said in a year I want to do a marathon, but I've never run before or walked before. I need to start training. And that means maybe you need to hire a trainer. You know what I mean? So they all work together. So personal, professional, and health goals. So setting realistic goals. This isn't the BHAG. You can set a big, hairy, audacious goal all you want, but these are realistic goals that you're actually working towards. And so that's the social media empowerment pillars: edutain, money, personas, other players. That was weird. I did that. Win, engagement, and realistic goals.
I love that. And it is so important to consider all aspects of your life, right? This is one piece of it. And if we're only ever shooting for the big stuff, we're not really enjoying or even experiencing the day-to-day stuff. And that was a big shift for me. I really focus on how am I showing up? What am I wanting out of this day? And I know I'm very clear on that now. And connection is one of them, and connecting with people like you and, having an impact on the world. And I think it's important to really be clear on what your goals are, because that, from a personal perspective, because that will drive how you show up on social media, what you post and share, and what kind of business that you build.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, we didn't really get into the resilience project and the global resilience project, which I would love to do. I feel like we'll have to do a part 2, but can you give us the big picture of it in a minute, 90 seconds, and then we'll make sure we can share the links and people can join and get to know more about it.
So the Global Resilience Project is a community where people can read, share, and listen to stories of resilience to help them heal. We all have a story, and sharing your story is one of the 5 secrets to strengthening your resilience muscle. And we all have this resilience muscle in us. And we have a published book. We're just about to announce our 2nd book. We have a podcast called Radical Resilience. And online, we share stories in social media. So if anyone has a story they want to submit to be online or in the book, they can go to iamresilient.info. This book was created as a legacy project for my late father. My father passed away. He was terminally ill with COPD and lung cancer. And when we learned that, we started sharing our story of resilience, forgiveness, his addiction. And our story was inspiring people to heal. And so we decided to create this book as a legacy project where we share his story and my story and a bunch of stories from around the world. So his legacy can live on and keep helping people once he's no longer here, which is currently now. So, yeah.
I love it. I'm going to submit myself for that, for the podcast.
This is actually the first time I've publicly on an interview announced the 2nd book. I didn't know if I was ready, a bit of a trigger warning. It was not part of the story, but my husband almost died. We had a miscarriage. My father-in-law died, my mom died, and my dad died all in a few-year period. And it was very I was through the finish line to get this book out, and I needed a minute. And I actually was in Hawaii on vacation. My mom came to me in a dream, and I was about to publish my 2nd book. So I finally woke up and I was like, oh my God, I'm ready. Mom says it's okay. So I'm just in the process of getting ready to do a big announcement about it. But yeah, there'll be a 2nd book for sure.
You heard it here first.
Breaking news.
I got the scoop. I love it. Amazing. Blair, where can people find you? How can they follow you and learn how to be more, to break the rules on social media?
Yeah, like if you want to see me break rules, just follow me anywhere. On Instagram, I'm Blair from Blairland. If you type in Blair Kaplan Venables anywhere, you can find me. BlairKaplan.ca is my website. That's kind of my hub for everything, and it connects everywhere. And if you saw this interview and you're inspired, or you want to, ask me questions, follow me, give me a DM, comment on something. I'd love to have a chat.
Amazing. Thank you, Blair. Thanks for joining me today. And thank you everybody for watching. And if you're watching the replay, check the links. We'll make sure to post everything so you can connect with Blair afterwards.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye, everybody.